Hear that? That's that fucking internet bullshit everyone needs so desperately. Fucking. Let's do it. Let's give ourselves the fucking schnitz. You've had it at the pub. You've probably had a shit one. You've probably had a good one. Maybe you've never even fucking had one. It couldn't be easier. It really couldn't. Well, I mean, it could be easier. Could it? No. Or could it? Let's do it. Let's make some schnitzel with some pepper gravy and some fucking other shit. What goes in it? Now, I don't know if you remember me asking what noise you wanted me to make when I usually do the point to the recipe thing, but there's been quite a few requests for a fart. Oh, fuck it, whatever. This is what goes in it. Okay, let's do it. Let's get some shit going on. Hike 'em up. We're going to make wedgies. No one calls them that. You fucking remember the ones where you'd have it with the fucking sour cream and the sweet chili sauce? Do you know how fucking easy they are to make? Very, very fucking easy. One of the crucial items in making a wedge is the thing they're made out of, and that is a fucking potato. The ones that are covered in, dirt and shit, fucking great. No sink going on here at the moment, so we've got the clean washed version. It's more or less the fucking same shit. Right, all you need to do, get the oven, 180, matey, tram forced. You're gonna need fucking a tray and baking paper. Write your name on the shiny side. Bigger the potato, bigger the wedge will be, so maybe we'll stick with the smaller ones here. Wedge is very easy, simple concept, right? The shape that you cut them into is wedge-like. So that, not quite there yet. You could go like, I don't know. How's that? Very wedgy. Before we bung them on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on some paper towel just for a bit. And that way, we can dry them out a little bit beforehand. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It doesn't really matter. There's the soak it in water thing you can do, which is what I do with fries. You can do that. Just, we're doing other shit, so we're not going to stress too much about that. We'll just do that. Just can do it the difficult way. We'll just plonk that in there for now and let that chill out and dry out. Fucking oath. The cooking time very much depends on the cutting size. So if you've cut them thick as shit, bigger they are, thicker they are, longer they'll take to cook. The best way to know with fucking anything in the cooking universe is to fucking check it. You can stick a fork through it and it doesn't taste fucking raw, then you're good. Just remember, oh, that's right, I remember having wedges. They look like that. Go with that one. I know we just dried the fucking potatoes out, but we're going to re-wet them with a bit of olive oil. You can use whatever oil you like if you like. Just give them a nice knock around. Very nice. That's very nice. Very nice. Tongs. If we got fucking tongs, let me tell you, take your pick, Dad. Woohoo! Onto the tray. Very nice. In we go. Check them at about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, see how they're going. Give them a flip just until they're cooked. It could take, probably going to be at least 35, probably 45 minutes. Time to fucking make a schnitzel. Have you made one before? No, you haven't.
Oh, you should. Just give it a go.
Righto, we get old Michael plastics out. There it is, chicken breast. We could just schnitzel this the way it is, but the problem with this, I've said it before, I'll fucking say it again, watch me do it, is that it's thicker on this end than it is on this end. So what's going to happen is it'll fucking overcook on one end, and then, that. Easiest way to get around that is to cut it in half. Here is how you butterfly a chicken breast. You put the thing on the bench, very nice, give it a little bit of pressure, and then you want to run your knife back along halfway through it, and it will fold out like a lovely love heart. There we go. Very nice. Now, if we're going to turn this shit into a schnitzel, it's still a bit thicker here than it is down here. So the way we sort that out is by fucking doing this. Get yourself some happy wrap. We stick it on top, and then you get the back end of a pan or something flat, and you give it a fucking smack. You don't need to smack the absolute out of it. You just need to kind of tap it more on the thick end than the thin end until the thick end looks about the same height as the thin end. You're asking yourself, what does the fucking plastic do? Well, the plastic stops the chicken splitting. That looks pretty fucking good to me. Now we turn it into schnitzel. 1, 2, 3. In this bowl here, eggs. 2 or 3 of them, depending on how many schnitzels you're making. Let's just start with 2. Second bowl, we want flour. The last one, we want breadcrumbs. I'm using panko breadcrumbs. The difference between these and other types of breadcrumbs is that these are fucking better. They're a bit thicker, they're a bit crunchy, which are great for schnitzels. In with the breadcrumbs, I'm going to send in a bit of dried thyme, a bit of dried rosemary. You can do either or none. Give it a little kick. You can put in some cayenne pepper, a bit of garlic powder. We've got that much garlic powder. That was onion powder as well, by the way. A bit of smoked paprika, that's heaps. And then just grate in a bunch of Parmesan cheese. You don't have to do this bit if you don't want to, but it's good. Don't throw the end of your Parmesan rind away, by the way. You can chuck it into sauces and shit, and it is delicious. Little secret additive. I'm going to run with a bit of chopped parsley. Give that shit a good mix around. Now, I've probably got enough in here for about 4 schnitzels, maybe even more. So, you know, you can reduce these amounts if you need to, or fling it on the bench like I am. Into the flour, I'm going to put in a good grind of salt and the same of pepper. I'm going to whisk all that shit up so that it looks like that. Now we do it. And here's the process. There's a landing pad. We go 1, 2, 3, flip it, 4. In you go, do a little flip, dredge it in the flour. Nice and covered in that. Into here. What these two things do together is keep all the moisture in the chicken breast, which traditionally ends up being fucking dry as a dead dingo's diary often. This helps fix that problem. Into the breadcrumbs. Give it a push down, flip. Very nice. You can do it 1 more time. You can do it 2 more times. As long as the shit is stuck to the shit. That is all that matters. There we go. As many of those as you like, and that's how you prep them. I'm going to make 1 more. Once you have used this stuff, you can't use it again. Imagine that this is all poisoned now. You can't dip raw chicken in shit and then keep it for other shit. It's just not good fucking practice unless you want to practice shitting yourself and finding out what you did wrong. On with the pan, Sam. Heat to medium. I'm going to use a neutral oil, like vegetable oil or something. We want like a fair bit. I'm not going to deep fry it, I'm going to shallow fry it, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. So, we want to go on here. I don't know if it's going to be big enough. It might be. We'll find out the hard way. Now, a good way to test whether this oil's good to go. If you got a little extra bit of breadcrumb, and you see it sizzle away like that, means you're probably good to go. Now, we don't want to burn the shit out of these. We want to cook them very nice and evenly. And the way we're going to know at the end of the day whether they're cooked or not is with one of these things. It's called a thermometer. We stick it into the thickest part of the schnitzel, and when it says 75 degrees C, we want as close to 75 as possible, or over, then it's safe to go. Tong set number 2. I can check these doozies out. What a fucking head. When placing things in oil, laying them away from you is the smart thing to do. Because if you lie them towards yourself, then you f***ing splash oil. Yeah, so don't. Couple of minutes. If you see it starting to smoke, pump the brakes, turn the f***ing heat off, take it off the heat. Oil fires do not f*** around, they go. And do not put water on oil fires or you will have more f***ing fires. Get yourself a fire blanket. Let's just avoid that f***ing shit altogether and just keep an eye on it. Very nice. Over we go. Yeah, we just kind of want to sear it, you know. Lovely. Straight onto here. Old mate number 2, in you go, champion. Very nice. I think the oil's a bit hot. Turn that down. You're f***ing getting the idea here, right? You're f***ing smart, mate. You know what's up. You know what to do. Onto here you go. All right. Right. Straight into the oven. In you go. In there, 10 minutes, and then f***ing flip it. Have a look at it. If it looks like it's burning, put foil over it. Just depends on the chicken. Again, use the thermometer, but it should be about 10 minutes each side should do it. Maybe 15. Just check it. Stick the f***ing thing in the thing, and when it says 75, you know. Yay. How to make pepper gravy. Get ourselves a knife that's sharp. I mean, you can use a blunt one and squash the thing into fucking, you know, disappointing fucking memories. Cut the onion up. Very nice. I'm using a pan that I've just cooked a bit of meat in, so that's going to have a little bit of meaty flavour in there, but you don't have to do that. You can just do this. Let's get the heat on, nice and low. I'm just going to kind of finely dice the shits up. Very nice. Very nice. Finally done it and released very nice t-shirts. Chelsea has the puff print going on the faded black. They're very nice tees. They're a little bit nicer than usual, in fact. And because I just like being a pain in the ass and drawing pictures that people can barely read, this is very nice. And it glows in the dark. I don't know how to prove that to you without turning the lights off.
Very comfy. This is a medium. It's very nice. Or is this small?
They're small.
This is a small, so they're oversized.
But it's oversized as well. So please, won't you consider joining the very nice time we're having in T-shirt land world. I think this needs to stop. Yoink, pocket butter, stick that in there. Now some people, when they make pepper gravy, they deglaze the pan with things like cognac and brandy and stuff, which you can do, and it tastes fucking great. But I'm just keeping it simple today, champion. Very nice internet stuff, flickety-doo, makes you look like you know what you're fucking doing. I don't, I'm lost in my own body. Which cup is it in? Squash the fucking things. We want to get some garlic in there too. Keep an eye on it, you don't want the shit to burn. Cut the garlic up, rough as guts, doesn't fucking matter. Chuck the fucking piss off. Just the garlic bit. Happy days. Look at that, chunky as, in you go. Very nice.
Very, very nice.
If you're going to smack things with a knife, be f***ing careful that the knife isn't pointing upwards, otherwise you might smack your f***ing hand off your body. A pinch of fresh herbs in there doesn't hurt. No one ever f***ing swore at anyone about doing that. You just want to cook it down for a bit. We want to caramelise this stuff until this gets a bit of colour to it. While that's doing that, can I recommend we have a look at pepper. If you've got an absolutely kick-ass pepper grinder, which this is not, use one of these. It's called a mortar and pestle. It has worked for thousands of years and it works fucking way better than this thing. Peppercorns into this shit. Give it a little bash. Bash and a turn and a squash. And then give it a bit more of a stir over here. Look at us fucking doing two things at once. And then give it a nice grind. We're talking pretty classic hits. Pretty classic hit stuff there. If you're being a very fancy pants, add the addition of green peppercorns that have been soaked. The benefit of these being soaked is you don't have to crush them. You can just eat them and they're beautiful. I'm going to add a teaspoon of this to this. 2 types of flour you can use for this shit. This is plain flour. That is corn flour. You need less of that and slightly more of that. I'm pushing all the onions to one side. I'm going to push that off the heat a little bit, plonk in some butter on the other side. So what I want to do is create a little roux. I'm going to use corn flour, usually a little bit less than usual. It turns into this kind of paste stuff, and that's what makes the fucking gravy a little bit thick. Heat up, in with your beef stock. You can use chicken stock if you prefer. Now we're going to cook that down for a bit, and then I'm going to strain it, and it'll just be beautiful gravy. Look at that, look at the colour of that, it's fucking awesome. We love that. Half a pinch of the pepper now, get that flavour combining. There'll be a little to taste exercise going on, which is where you can put it in your mouth and decide whether it tastes like the thing you want it to taste like. Not the way some people use the term to taste. If you find yourself in a situation where this thing is getting too thin, you can get your corn flour and put it in either a bit of cold water or cold stock, stir it around and slowly introduce that liquid to this. That'll thicken it up. I wouldn't recommend that as much with plain flour. If you do it with plain flour, it's a bit more risky and it might end up tasting floury. No fucking complaints from me, mate. Just strain it into here. So we want all the chonky bits to fuck off out of it. This stuff here isn't bad. You can keep it, you can eat it. You can chuck it on top of your steak, your fucking schnitzel. You make Greg's fucking head. You can do whatever you like with it. Back into the pan. Look at that shit, would you? Yeah, turn on would be good and that. It's a nice good pinch of pepper for pepper gravy. Really, yeah. Some of my soaked peppercorns. You don't have to do this bit if you don't want to. Let it all hang out for a minute and give it a taste. So before you fuck up with the salt in your head, taste it. If you're real flash, you just get in there and you go, lovely. Shit like that, you know. Does not need salt. The stock was salty enough. Thank you very fucking much. I reckon I can cop more pepper. I don't know about you, but I like it pretty fucking peppery. Right at the end, heat off, little blob of cream, one fine, a little bit of butter. I know it seems a bit extra, but it's because it fucking is. The residual heat will just melt that butter through, and you should be fucking good as gravy. See what I did there? It's called being a fuckwit. Oh, it's just going to be just a bit too much. Oh well, I have to drink the rest. Oh, all day. Do not give a fuck, I'd smash that. Probably a good time to get the fucking chips and the bloody thingo out of the fucking oven. It's chips and salad or mash and veg. And I've done mash that many times on the fucking channel. It's chips and salad, thank you very much. This might shock you, but salad doesn't have to fucking be boring and shit. It doesn't. And it doesn't have to take ages. You don't need to bug around making fucking dressings that take fucking 3 weeks. You can make it really very easy. And let me show you an absolutely kick-ass fucking fuckwit-free salad. It takes about the same amount of time as it does to make a fucking dickhead out of yourself at the work Christmas party. It's a free bar. Watch yourself. Best advice I ever got on making a salad is 2 bowls. So here, it's rocket into bowl 1. We want it to start here and end there. Not all salad has to have a fucking bajillion fucking things in it. It just needs a couple of things. One very basic thing is olive oil. Give it a nice little glug of olive oil. That'll do. This is a bit of goat's cheese. You can use feta cheese. Just fucking, who gives a shit? Just get the shit out of there and into here. Bang. Don't use that fucking cubed tasty cheese shit. It's fucked. That stuff should be reserved for fucking being on a stick with cabanossi. Ruining shit. No, this seems weird. Peach. That's right. You can use nectarine. You could use apple if you like. You could even use a bit of mango. Fuck, I don't give a shit what you use. Pomegranate. Great. Just don't dump all that fucking weird pre-made shit in there. It just tastes like fuck off. Slices of that shit. See ya. In you go. Don't fucking knock it till you try it. Trust me. It does help to have fucking ripe fruit, because unripe fruit tastes shit. Let's put in a little avo. Very nice. Roughly cut it. If you cut it too thin, it'll just turn into guacamole in there. And you don't want that. Crack of salt. You don't have to. That'll do. Yeah, you gotta have a big, massive fork and a spoon. Oh, 2. It. This is it. This is it. No more than this. You're not allowed any more than this. All right, ready? Scoop down the bottom, lift it up, dump it in on itself, turn it around, do it one more time from the other side, let it fall into itself, and then finally have a fucking last. You only get one more, and that's it. No more fucking stirring it. It's already been stirred twice. In we go into the final bowl. And all the silly heavy shit at the bottom will dress itself on the top. There we go. That's fucking it, mate. You don't need all this weird sweet shit in there that you fucking PRAIS asshole in there. Fucking no thanks. You don't need to worry about that shit. This covers all the bases, the sweet, the savoury, and the not being a fuckwit. Alright, it's time to give ourselves the fucking schnitz. We're a bloody couple of fancy pants at this pub. Stoneware only. Oh, mate. Excuse me. Yeah, that's it. I'm not putting it on top of the chips. We'll put it next to the chips. It can be chip adjacent. Hear that? That's that fucking internet bullshit everyone needs so desperately. I reckon that looks great. I reckon we should fucking eat it. Mate, you might not have seen this one coming, but I'm doing a bit of time travelling here. A bit of sweet chilli and sour cream, thank you very much. As if you're not gonna. Oh my fucking God, remember that?
This is bloody delicious.
We should actually take some pictures of it from the top before we do it.
Might try it from the other side. This Saturday, we're doing some live streaming on Twitch of the cooking. It gets fucking chaotic without the editing, trust me. Did you almost fall over the light? 8 o'clock, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Right, champions. It's about enough. Just remember.
Very nice.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Give yourself a wedgie. Oh, that's good.